Welcome back, everybody. We are getting back into our cryptid roots here. So I'm super excited because I'm bringing you a beast, but not just one. I'm bringing two with our guest, and he's going to laugh at this, ready or not. Tyler from A Call to Madness.
I didn't hate it. I totally hear it. When you said it, I was like, oh, what is she?
Yeah, and don't feel too bad. I also can't say Michael. So either way,
Ooh, that's rough.
it's pretty bad. There's a bunch of words I can't say. I just substitute them out.
It was crazy, but I'm glad we were able to sit down and do this.
I know exactly what it was. And I think it's because we are usually we're not close to anybody that we're doing this with. And I think because we are so close. And like I said, I'm only an hour or two away from that time zone change. And so what threw me off is it was like giving a different time zone that was almost mine, but not quite. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's a thing. I literally Googled it to be like, what the hell is this? But yeah, so we just found out that technically we could probably make a day trip out of it. Not a super
100%.
long day trip, but we could definitely do it a day. Which
I want to say you're probably right where you're at right now. You're probably about 6.5 hours away from me where I'm sitting right now.
Yep. That's
We could
so
do it.
weird.
We could do a whole ass episode together. It'd be great.
Yeah, be like, huh? Hey, speaking of, I'm trying to look for some more closer events to go to. And I have a whole bunch on my list, of course. Donate to the Patreon or donate through my website because I'd love to do more investigations.
Oh yeah, dude.
Shameless
We're always
plug.
trying to do we're always trying to do an investigation, and it's just crazy expensive to get that stuff
Yeah.
going. So if you're listening to this right now, channel it in.
Okay. I was like, ooh, donuts.
Mm.
I forgot to take my ADHD medicine this afternoon. So
Hey man, we're all out here raw dogging it.
I might be answering my call to madness tonight. I want to give you an opportunity to let everybody know what it is that you do, why you do it, anything that you want. I'd like to have that little bit of freestyle advertising for you.
Ooh, okay, thank you. I appreciate the hell out of it. I'm from a podcast called The Madness. We were originally Men of Misfortune. We have three hosts, myself, a guy named Jake, and a Canadian called Thomas. It's a comedy show. We honestly don't have a straight and narrow topic that we stick to. It's not just true crime. It's not just stories or whatever. We just come to the table with whatever we're feeling that day. The last episode that we did that we just uploaded to YouTube was me dressing up like Trump. There was a scheduling issue with our Joe Biden. So there was going to be a whole debate. And
I'm sorry, was it like an actual one or was it like a plan? Like maybe he forgot about the appointment?
no, he
Oh, okay. Maybe he fell going up the stairs, had to be hospitalized.
he was riding his bike, and then I got a text message like I'm falling, and then I didn't hear anything more from him. But we were planning on having this like whole debate between me and this Joe Biden, and unfortunately it didn't happen, but we ended up making the episode about fake news. So we did that episode, just did
Nice.
a D&D episode, collab with another show. So pretty much anything's on the table. Call to Madness. Find us wherever you get your podcast.
Awesome. So yeah, I like to do that little front part because I feel like if you insert an ad, people just skip over. So I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
bitches, now you're gonna listen to it.
Shameless plugs.
So something I had to giggle because you said something about doing a D&D episode. I just started a new job like a month ago, and it's got like these old style phones, right? We're literally in the Stone Age. We don't even have caller ID on these things. The landline, it's just rough. And one of my buttons, so it's got line 1, line 2, whatever, and at the top it just says D&D, and I'm like, wait, can I summon somebody here? I was like, I just want to call the number just to see where the hell it goes.
You push that number, you get a D20 that pops out of the receiving end of the phone. You get to roll it, and
It's your turn.
Yeah, it determines if you get to keep your job or not that day.
Or it's you get all the crappy customers today.
You fall through a trap door and end up in like a dragon lair.
Your toe gets ran over by a parked car. It's like, but yeah, so I just got a kick out of that because I literally looked at it. I was like, what the hell could that possibly? Oh, wait. Maybe it's do not disturb. Maybe there's like a voicemail setting.
Are you just now realizing this right now?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Well, okay. Anyway, so I'm an idiot.
I love that.
Okay, we're gonna do D&D. It's more fun. I don't like do not disturb. Oh, jeez. Okay, so I do want to let you know, I usually let everybody know, everybody who's out there who's a Patreon on a certain tier, you can see the videos. And I want to let you know, sorry, right here, you can barely see it right now, right by this little ghosty, is a cat ball sensor that is on. Right here by this candle is one. And way down here by the penguin, which Liam, if you're listening, I've still got your zombie penguin. He's hanging out. What are you waiting on, dude? I've been waiting. Literally, I've had him here for 2 months waiting to ship him out, and I'm just waiting on the get your little salad fingers on that little dial and figure out when I need to send him over. But I do have them on, so we have an open rule here in my studio that we like it. So I have a bunch of I call my invisible friends that kind of sometimes pop in, pop out, and they like to sometimes interact with people depending on who it is. You might get more or less. So far, I've gathered the kids like Stacy from early on Wednesdays. And we have a man apparently here that's name is Philip, and he loves Kevin from Where the Weird Ones Are.
Nice.
So they're always going off. Every now and then they're just dead. It is 7:30, so it might not be too bad. They really do not care what time it is. If they want to come in, they're going to come in. And I've got to tell you this. It was on one of my social media posts, but it just really creeped me out. So a couple days ago, I'm at work, and I say that I work basically in a fishbowl. So I'm at my desk, and I look out, and what I see is we have this old antique car. I sell used cars, just in case anybody's wondering. And in the showroom, we have this old antique car. And aside from that, it's one whole wall is just glass windows, top to bottom, glass windows. The one in front of me has these huge glass windows and this glass door. And I'm just typing away in my computer. My boss is in his office and his door's open. And I'm just like doing my own beeswax. And I hear, now this is an old building. And so I hear this like brass doorknob turn, like rattle, like it's turning, and then it clicks. So I'm thinking there's a customer, and I'm like, oh crap, I better get ready. So I look up and I'm looking around, like there's no one. But not only did it turn and click, it opened like real slow. And now usually if that door opens, like I've had it where it's been a little bit open, the wind catches it and it like flings the door. If it's enough that's going to open the door, it like throws the door. But this one didn't. It literally was like click and then just real slow. And we have a sensor that goes off when the door opens so far to let us know in case we're in the back that somebody's there, like a gas station or something. And my boss didn't hear me say anything, but heard the bell, and he stood up from his office and looked out, and he's, who's here? And he looks out at me, and I'm just staring at the door. And he's, who's here? And I'm like, nobody. And he's, the door just opened. I was like, I know. And he's like, nobody's here. I'm like, no. I said, he's like, that's really weird. And I was like, hello, whoever it is. Thanks for saying hi. I appreciate
At least you're super like receptive to any kind of weirdness that happens either at your home or at your job, where you're not going to absolutely white girl panic and like,
I'm not going to like shat my pants. My boss was pretty close to being like, oh, like something's not right here.
So what overall is like the craziest, weirdest thing that you've ever experienced? I've only heard things. I've never seen anything. Now you got your whole studio set up right now to react when there's something in the room. But what's the worst? What's something you're like, oh God, you went past the line? Define
worse. Worst experience. I was at Ohio State Reformatory, and I was doing a ghost hunt with a friend of mine, and we had free range. So we were allowed to just walk wherever we wanted, do whatever investigation we wanted. It was really cool. And we went up to, now, if you haven't seen pictures or anything, go look it up. So the way their cells are set up are you walk virtually into this giant room, and there's like this one giant pillar in the middle, and it's just stacked like a giant column with the cells around it. So you have all the cells around the first floor, and then there's a staircase only on one side. In and out is one staircase that goes to the next floor, and then you just have another stack of cells, and then another and another. We went up and we were just making laps, and we get about to the third floor, and we start getting close to this one corner, like on the far end. And I was telling her, I was like, man, I was like, I can't figure it out. I said, but something's not right. I was like, something's going on up here. So just be ready. And she's like, okay. So then of course I go first. And I'm like, I turn the corner and I'm literally just staring to this open void. It's just a long, like row of cells. And on the outside, it's just like these teeny tiny 2 little bar is what's keeping you from falling 3 stories.
Right.
And I took a few steps, and it was like, it was heavier and heavier, but my dumbass, I was a ghost hunt. What are you going to do? You're going to go?
Yeah, you're going to go. You got to go.
I was like, let's see how far I can go. So I'm inching and inching. It's getting heavier and heavier. And I get about that second or third cell down, and I felt something physically take my shoulders, and it was shoving me, like almost like it was running start on like pushing a sled type push. And
Jeez.
it was pushing me directly straight back and for the railing. And so I took off running, and I was screaming at her to run. And we're two not so very small people that don't do anything on an average basis. So it was really interesting to watch us run, I'm sure. Bolting, and I zipped around the corner, like right at the edge at the last second. And whenever it was like, okay, I just want you out of my space, as long as I was gone, it was fine. And then later on that night, we actually asked the security guard if he had any experiences there since he works there. We didn't say shit about anything that happened to us. And I was up on that third floor, and I was like 2 or 3 cells down, and he's a grown, like a big grown ass man. And he was like, I was hanging onto that railing for dear life because something was trying to push me off the edge. And it was like the same experience that I had. It was so weird. But yeah, that's the one that I was like, you tried to kill my ass. You're not okay. You could just stay here.
I've only heard things like my last house that I lived in, we had all wooden floors on our first floor. And when we would sleep at night, we could hear what sounded like boots walking.
Yeah.
And
Clunk,
yeah,
clunk.
my wife was like, hey, can you go check that out? I was like, no, I won't. I can hear it up here. I know what it is. The doors are locked.
We're going to die.
Yeah, dude, Red Dead. I'm not doing this. I'm not Zach Baggins, all right? There's nothing I can do against this thing. I'm going to throw some salt at it and hope to God it goes away.
Salt by your bed.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a bat, having a gun. Let's just keep it cool as salt. We'll be fine. We'll get a priest in here. He'll bless it. It should do something.
Oh
I
my
don't
gosh.
know. When we lived in this house, like we first moved in, it was like, I want to say day 2 of us living in this place. We're getting everything set up. We have all these boxes everywhere. And my wife is in the basement doing laundry. I'm on the main floor. We had a second floor. And I heard footsteps running up to the third floor or the second floor. And I'm like, oh, it's probably just Stephanie. I didn't see it. I was in our library area because we had this little library area tucked off to the side. So I didn't really see what happened. So I got to the stairs and I yelled my wife's name and I didn't hear a response. And then I heard a response coming from the basement coming upstairs. So I'm like, nope. What the? So my wife goes, or I make it up to the second floor landing. Like I'm like at the top of the stairs, and my wife calls for me downstairs, and she was like, hey, what are you yelling for? And I turned around and we had a bunch of like soap bottles and shampoo and conditioner and body wash in our bathroom that all got knocked down the second I turned around to like, why aren't you up here? You're supposed to be up here. I heard you go up here. Yeah. So that
Oh man.
And then the last thing was we had fire detectors, smoke alarms all throughout the house, and they would go off like randomly. And you could yell at them to stop. You could be like, hey, asshole, it's 3:00 in the morning. I'm trying to sleep. Now I haven't seen anything. So that's where my skepticism lies. I haven't personally seen anything. We changed the fire alarms. We changed the batteries. We cleaned them. We did everything we were supposed to. And they just kept going off.
Oh, we have one that continuously goes off randomly. I took the battery out and it still goes off.
Oh, no. We're throwing that one away. That's broken. Nope, we're throwing that one away.
But I was like, I took the batteries out because he's like, why is the alarm going? I was like, I don't know what's happening.
That's fucked.
And he's very skeptical. And he one time came out and our treadmill turned itself on and he walked out. And I told him to turn the lever down to turn it off. I should have had to turn it off or was telling him because he called me. He's like, and he's okay, I moved it and I could still hear it running. I said, well, pull the safety switch out. So he pulls the safety switch out and it's still going.
Why do you still live there? Why do you still live in this house?
It's not the house. It's me. It's literally everywhere I live. Everywhere I go, it's the same stuff.
For the safety of your family, we need you to go out to the desert and stay there from now on.
This is perfect. Speaking of desert, I have a great cryptid that's in the desert. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Could not have worked out perfect. That being said, while in the Gobi Desert, it's known as one of the most vast, oh my gosh, I can't say this word, uninhabitable and hostile hideaways that actually has a cryptid that will remind you of one of my all-time favorite movies. Now, deep beneath the sandy landscape, stretching along western and southern portion of the Gobi Desert. Some say is a slithering, creepy, crawly creature that seems too outrageous to exist, but has influenced pop culture over the years. And one description of the wiggling worm is actually in Wikipedia. I know everybody's all about Wikipedia, but I sometimes like to go, I go all over to get information. And it goes like this. It is shaped like an enormous sausage. That's how we start. I'm just picturing this giant turd on the sand. Oh my God, it's a giant cat box. Oh, okay, sorry, that just clicked. All right, anyway, so we're talking 2 to 5 feet, so about a half to 1.5 meters long. It has no discernible face or legs, and it is so poisonous or venomous, depends on which way you look at it, that merely to touch it, you supposedly have like instantaneous death.
Jesus Christ.
My question is, how the hell do people know about it then?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Now, I'm going to try my best to pronounce this because it has another name.
Give it the most Indiana slang terms you could possibly use for this right now. I want to hear some real Southern vibes.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to spell it first.
Okay.
Olgorkhoi. I think it's Algorkhoi.
I'm gonna say you nailed it. You're honestly 10 out of 10.
Yeah, thanks. I probably need to work on my Mongolian, but we'll go with it. But they say that it means intestine worm because they say that this thing, some reports say that it's the color of like blood.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, ugh. Now, some of them do say that there is like a yellowish tinge to it. And I'm just thinking that somebody, like, this is just a giant cat. We're just going to get into this later. Remind me. You're not going to remind me because I'm going to think about the cat turds. But it just seems like giant sandbox. That's what it is. Now, they do say that it has spikes on both ends. So it doesn't have legs. It doesn't have a face, but it does have these spikes. Now, some people have even reported that this thing gets up to 7 feet long, like 2 meters. And that is a big ass worm.
You're shy halud out in the Gobi Desert right now. Like, Jesus Christ. Thank you, Frank Herbert.
Yeah. And as the giant worm makes its way through the mounds of sand, supposedly you can see the trail a-coming. Now, does that sound familiar to you at all?
No, not really.
A worm traveling through a sandy region.
Other than Dune or Tremors, like that's where it came to. I'm trying to like picture. I don't know why I can't get away from it, but I keep picturing it's a hot dog with spikes on it. Like that's what's going through my mind when you're telling this story. It's either that or a piece of cat shit.
So you got hot dogs, I got cat turds. All right. This is fantastic. But I literally do. So to me, now think about it. Giant worm in a sandy region that's really deadly. I straight up am getting tremors. That is a meat, which by the way, Kevin Bacon in that movie. Now.
Oh.
Yeah. Whoop. Who's getting hot in here all of a sudden?
Better put loose this shit out of here.
I swear I literally just heard you say that in my head before you said it. That was perfect. But yeah, and I thought, now granted, I did watch Dune. So now I'm like, okay, Dune, yes, but like an exaggeration would be.
Yeah,
Dune.
I was gonna say this isn't Shy Hildu. This is like a 70 worm.
Yeehaw in it, like Sandy from SpongeBob on this worm.
The Alaskan bullworm.
Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. These things are popping up. I like it. A lot of people haven't heard of any of the crap that I talk about.
Oh man, I'm here for it.
Now, but for me, the biggest difference between these monsters on the movies and these cryptids here are the cryptids that we have. So the Mongolian Death Worm is its official name if you Google it. And they say that it spews out corrosive yellow venom.
Ugh.
Oh.
It's a spitter? That's gross.
I wonder what happened to fill in the
Swallowed?
blank. Yeah, how does it fill in the blank? Because what I was going to point out is supposedly this venom is so intense that it completely dissolves organic matter. So there's no evidence of the victim. It's just gone. Like acid bath.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to figure out what would be the purpose. It's not like food, because I mean, if it's already gone by the time you get to
Think of it like a fly vomits on something and then sucks it up through its mouth to liquefy it, and maybe that's how it eats. So maybe it's just trying to decompose whatever it's
Well,
trying to get through to get that slop of goodiness for it.
okay, that makes sense. I would just say that I don't know how fast somebody's, if you got liquefied in a desert, how fast would you evaporate?
I don't know. Now all my brain's
I
thinking
mean,
about
that's
is
gotta be
Terminator.
that's gonna be like a simultaneous. But
Yeah.
oh my god, I just had the. We won't go there. But yes, that's something that I thought was strange. And they say that it has the ability to electrocute you.
Jesus Christ.
And
How many fucking superpowers does this worm have?
oh, it gets good. It gets good. So it's like an electric eel and it can like not just touch it and electrocute, but it can like pulsate out, which actually that does make sense because if you are in a dry, arid place, like when you rub your feet on the carpet and it's dry and it gets that friction, it can increase the amount of zap.
Right.
So that would be an ideal superpower in the desert where it's dry and constant friction, right?
I just feel like it's been like, so the people that touch this thing die. The people that get near it die. How are we doing reports on this thing right now? Because it doesn't like that. That's
So just
because you're talking like a Pikachu style worm that throws up on things and has insta kill. Like,
oh,
this is
just
the kind
wait.
of,
Just wait. There is one more superpower.
it's got wings of a butterfly.
It's the ultimate defense. Of course, it's counterproductive. But they say that when it's attacking you, the worm will pull half of its body out of the sand, swell up, and explode, spraying you with the venom. So I'm basically like, oh my God, it's a giant cat.
Yeah. So we have that. Okay. So this thing is, it explodes. So does it have any kind of regenerative powers, or is it just like a one done deal?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. And what if it's something where, say you go out with some kind of those things that they take. Oh my gosh, I can't think of what it's called, but it's on Kong, where they have like the seismic, so they drop the bomb, but it doesn't like explode. It's more of a seismic thing, like emission,
Like a
like
tremor
is it
thing?
EMP.
EMP, I
Yeah.
think, takes electricity.
Yeah,
think that's
like
what
I'm
it
just
is,
thinking. So what if you stuck it in the ground and you emit the signal, and all of a sudden you have all these like worms coming up and like swelling up and just being like poof, poof,
So
like a really fucked up fireworks.
is this cryptid like a solo thing? Is there like only one in existence, or is there like a farm of these things? Because now I'm getting like bee vibes from this thing. Because like bees, their one defense is their stinger. They sting, it's dead. I'm getting that defense.
You know what? I'm not sure. I would imagine not a one-time thing, but oh my gosh, imagine if these monstrosities are the worker worms. I don't know what the hell they're going to get, but if they're like the little worker worms, what the hell would this queen worm look like?
I gotta look this up. Death worm. It was like all I had to do was. Oh, this thing's terrifying.
It's a lot scarier than it sounds.
Yeah, no, this looks terrifying. It looks like almost like a leech or a lamprey.
Yeah.
Where it's just got the mouth of teeth.
Yeah. Now, some of them, though, are more spiky at the end, like the ones on Trimmers, minus the big gaping mouth. And they seem to be a little fatter. So some of them in the pictures are skinny like a tapeworm, but some of them are more like. I'm just thinking about that really fat guy from the underworld. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
That was the only thing I could think of. Or what is it? Sorry, I'm not big into Star Wars. What's that? Is it the big
Jabba.
fat? Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, thanks.
Got you.
Yeah, so you got my back. People are going to be screaming. I've never seen a whole Star Wars movie.
What is wrong with you?
It's so boring. I can't do it. Hey,
There's more going on. We're talking these lightsaber battles. I'm blown away. It's boring.
It's the same thing. It's like.
Okay. Do you like Lord of the Rings?
Third night struggle.
I'm going to have to come to Indiana and fight you.
I have actually seen those movies all the way through, though. Thank you.
Okay, there's pluses there.
I've also seen all the Hobbit shows or movies.
So
I'm just saying, I've sat through some of them. I've also not seen Star Trek. But
I'm so glad Thomas isn't here right now. He would be so offended. He'd be like, "Oh, you're talking about my religion. You would die."
But I have seen every Twilight Zone, every X-Files, including the movie.
I do love X-Files.
And I know what this means. Well, I get the reference. Everybody can't see what I'm doing, so we'll just let them use their imagination.
Can I just say David
Look
Duchovny
at some other
is just
signs.
David Duchovny is just like prime example of what a man should be.
I don't even know who that is.
That's Mulder. That's Mulder.
Thank you. I only know character names. I don't know real people names. I'm horrible. Like,
Okay.
I can tell you people in movies, but I cannot tell you the real name.
Oh, David Duchovny. Oh, him and Ryan Reynolds. Oh, make a baby out of them people.
That is one person I do know his real name, by God.
Oh.
But Mulder,
Mhm.
okay, I'll probably edit this part out, but every time I watch that show, it's so weird to me sometimes because he very much so reminds me of an old boss I used to have.
Mm. That's creepy.
So, in a sense, I had sex with Mulder.
You know what? Was he hung? Just tell me when. Tell me when.
I'm kidding on the phone. It was very enjoyable. I went back for lots of
Round
seconds.
two.
Lots of seconds.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Man.
Well, let's mark that out.
Yeah.
I don't know if my husband listens, but just in case. I don't think he does. Oh, he knows. But
My wife doesn't either. It's okay.
no, maybe it's just a thing. I tell him I don't like him to listen to me anyway. But back to our, speaking of worm, our one-eyed monsters. Okay, so they do say that it comes to the surface like very rarely. So that fact mixed with the isolation of the Gobi Desert makes sense when there's not physical evidence.
And plus the
And there's
Gobi
nobody out
Desert,
there.
let's say it's dry, it's humid, or it's dry, giant desert, there's no water, no one's out there. I can't imagine
Sandstorms
that.
and
Yeah, I can imagine that much research being put into the Gobi Desert. I could be 100% wrong on that, but it just doesn't sound like something scientists are like, ooh, let's go dig this up.
yeah, definitely funny you should mention that because in the 1920s, there was another scenario that historians see time and time again, where the government officials sent a formal request to renowned paleontologist Roy Chapman Andrews to seek out and capture one of the death worms and deliver it to the government.
Did he
And
do it?
he set out to do just that. And here was his plan: to arm himself with protective glasses, steel forceps, and cage the beast. Now, one, did he take the DeLorean out there? Starters. Two, if this thing is that corrosive and you're going out there with goggles and forceps, what are you planning on doing? This thing could be up to 7 feet long and possibly electrocute and explode.
Rubber gloves, at least rubber gloves. You need at least rubber gloves. That's the only thing I could.
Yeah, I was thinking
like
like
the
those
least
big
of it.
yellow elbow deep kitchen gloves, like you're going in after the baby calf. And I don't, why the hell did I go to that? Because he delivered a baby. Forceps in the back of my mind.
Oh, shit.
Tell us you're from the Midwest without actually telling us you're from the Midwest.
Cows are cool.
Oh,
You got corn? Yeah, we got corn. Cows are cool. I see a lot of them.
You got corn and cows?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Calm down.
And if you don't drive by a farm and go, moo cow, then we're not friends.
Moo puppies. Moo puppies.
Oh,
Moo puppies. They're so beautiful.
Cows are cute. They smell like hell, but they are adorable.
Yeah, dude. Come to Iowa. There's pig farms everywhere.
Now, however, he didn't actually succeed. He didn't get any evidence. He didn't obviously get any worms. But a search was executed by a cryptozoological team spearheaded by none other than British cryptozoologist Richard Freeman of the Center for Fortean Zoology in 2005. So not too long ago, right?
Right.
Of course, nothing came from it.
Hmm.
I really talked that up there for a second, didn't I?
I was like, man, maybe they have something. Maybe all these pictures on Google were just.
Now, however, though, this particular guy concluded that the Mongolian death worm sightings were simply a viewing, possibly, of a species of worm lizard.
You mean snakes?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that just real soon. I just wanted to let that sit there for a second and simmer.
They have a word for that. It's called snakes.
A man named Ivan, Mackerel.
I thought you were going to Russian with this. I was like, let's hear this.
That was my organism 46 46B when we were talking about the Volstock station.
What? Ooh, just the way you said it. Woof.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, Lake Volstock. And I was like, oh, I just sound angry. I like it. But this person is pretty well known in some circles because he's famous for being a detective searching for Loch Ness, the monster
Right.
of Loch Ness. And he actually underwent an investigation as well. He interviewed many of the locals and decided that there were too many documented sightings as far as the local goes for the worm to be completely a legend. So he thinks that because there's so many people that have so many stories that have the content and all of that of their story and all of that and their genuine reactions when they tell it, that he feels that there's something out there, just not quite sure what.
Did you hear about the Loch Ness hunt that they just did?
Yeah, the bullshit one where they had a noise and they didn't have their fucking cameras on or their recorder on or whatever.
Yeah, they had
Rookie mistake.
500. They had 500 investigators, and they didn't even go into the water. They just had like drones that went in the water. Kind
Now,
of.
okay. To me, that actually makes more sense because if you're in there and you're working the water up, and if there is something in there, it's not gonna come out if there's all these boats and all of that. I mean,
I
think about it.
agree.
If you're on a bass boat and you're in a fishing tournament, you're not gonna catch jack shit until you stop.
And wait.
Yes.
Makes sense. Honestly, that makes sense. I didn't even think about it that way. I was being too critical on them. I think whenever I heard about it and they like didn't find anything, I was like, what are you gonna do? And then I heard about like how they did their investigation. I was like, I feel like it could have been handled just like a little bit better.
Yeah, a little better.
So, yes.
Like a guy 6 inches better.
Yo, how to be that? It's huge. We're talking at least 5 to 3 inches.
Yeah. And then I could store it in my boot. We're going to side rail real fast on this Loch Ness thing. Why has nobody thought of this? Okay, now granted, I don't know if there's any type of hazard to it or not, but think of when you go to get a CT scan done. You have a
Right.
CT scan and they inject you with that ink so
Mhm.
that they can watch all of your plumbing and make sure there's no clogs or leaks or whatever. Is there something that we could put into the lock that is only temporary, just enough to change it on some sort of scanning, either a satellite or something, so that we can see the supposed caverns that Nessie lives in and how far they go and how big they are and how deep they get?
I don't know about technology wise. During the 90s, we had ways to find fossils using shockwaves. I feel like we could probably do something around that line to pull something out.
Mhm.
Now, another question I have for you: are we on the same Nessie, or are we on Nessie 2.0, 5.6? Where are we at with that?
Oh, the one that's been swimming in there supposedly forever. I didn't realize there's a bunch of different ones.
I'm just saying there has to be. Everything's got a shelf life,
Oh.
right?
Oh, you mean the OG versus a spawn? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever the hell's there. I don't know. Whatever generation. I don't know. They could be a lifespan of 10 years, 100 years, 200 years, 30 seconds. Who knows? I don't know.
Life.
It would be like a fly.
30 seconds. 30 seconds. Everybody knows.
Wait. My cat is a mighty huntress. And we had this fly in the house one day, and I'm watching. She's going at it. She's running and jumping and swatting at it. And the next day, there was a fly, and I was like, "Oh, that's the same fly that she didn't get yesterday." My husband, I don't know. It's going slow. I was like, "It's probably the same fly. It's just geriatric."
His life has been forever.
Yeah, it's like, damn. I've been running from this bitch my whole life. As far as like the seismic thing, like you said with the fossils and everything, I don't think that would probably be a good idea, only because of the effects that it would have on the already existing that we know about uh fish and, oh my God, wildlife. Jesus. Because maybe if you were to do that, you would shock them. And sometimes even if you do the wrong thing, like I've known people that have put like
Well, it's not.
their stereo was too close to their fish tank and it killed their fish because the vibration literally just exploded. They give them little heart attacks.
In the 90s, the way it's not really a shock wave. It's not like electricity going through it. It's a shotgun shell that goes into the ground and it creates a shock wave into the ground. So there's no electricity going through it. It's just more vibrations and what bounces back.
Well,
So
there
it's more of
could,
an X-ray system type thing. So
I
like on your level
I
with
just feel like
the
it can jack some
device.
stuff up though.
Oh yeah,
But if you
absolutely.
put something into the water that could spread and could be readable by something, it's not going to affect anything in there. As long as it is a safe substance, it can filter through and flow through what's already there without restructuring or damaging anything.
That'd be really hard to find with all that like ecosystem going on and all the fish and life under there, not knowing like what would damage one system compared to the
And
other.
what if it's something where it's just a bioluminescent type substance that doesn't hurt anything? It's organic.
Like a type of glow stick
Yeah.
type thing. Yeah, that'd be cool.
See, I have good ideas.
We need to take this to Loch Ness. We need to rave
Apparently,
on a
people do know
boat.
what they're doing, so we can handle this. Somebody, okay, donate. We will go to Loch Ness and do a live show.
Patreon.
Patreon. Oh, actually, speaking of my Patreon, there is a 7-day free trial if you want to just check it out and try it out. Just so you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're doing yourself a disservice by not signing up right now.
Oh yeah, but you don't get the shout out until you've been there longer than the 7 days.
Longer than the week. Yep.
Now a lot of people though do look at this worm and they say, okay, the atmosphere is way too dry for it to be an actual worm, which makes sense. So they think it must be some other type of creature like a worm lizard, which they say are often mistaken for snakes due to their elongated bodies, but they're not venomous. So that would not really work out.
Right.
Again, snakes, big culprit, everybody goes. They're get a big scapegoat. And a lot of them in the area are venomous, like actual snakes that people find. They are pretty venomous in that area. So but 7 feet long and girthy.
Yeah, you're not going to find something like that. Most venomous snakes out in the like desert areas they're not as that long. Like they're big, but sometimes wide, but I don't know how to describe it.
Like a broomstick.
Yeah. You're not gonna find something that's gonna be like stupid huge and something that you're like you can't explain it. Like when you see a snake, you're gonna be like, that's a fucking
snake. Yeah. Now, I have another go-to swamp gas theory here, and that it is just a jumbo species of a burrowing skink, aka the legless lizard. So, like we were talking earlier, I told you I was going to bring it up. Legless lizards, are reptiles that resemble snakes due to their lack of limbs, but they are not actually snakes. They are distinct from both snakes and worms due to their movable eyelids, cylindrical body shape, and they give birth to live young. Unlike snakes, legless lizards have visible external ear openings, and unlike worm lizards, it possesses a forked tongue and a belly of scales. So
I want to see one of these things. Are they venomous? Are they deadly to play with?
that one. Yeah, so that one I didn't find anything about whether it was or not. Let's see here. Or venomous. No, they are not.
I'm gonna go get one.
Yeah. I really tried to talk my husband into a pet bat or a ferret or a snake.
Bats are sketchy. It's I don't know. Bats with the rabies. It's always super sketchy. You got to treat that.
You don't just, they're not all just born with rabies.
No, but I don't know. That always worries me.
So
what were the other options?
Ferret, but I hear they stink.
They stink.
Chinchilla
would be fun.
They're cute as
Chinchilla would be a fun pet.
Any type of exotic cat would be great. A fox, a raccoon.
A raccoon? We talking raccoons? I'm down with that, dude.
Trash
Let's
pandas.
go.
I love
Trash pandas. My
them.
dream pet is a red panda. I need a red panda.
Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Or what was the other one I wanted? Oh, I want a viper. Not
Like
just any snake. I want a viper.
Like an eyelash viper or something?
Oh, those are my favorite. That's so weird. Out of all of them that you could have picked, that was literally my favorite. It's been my favorite since I was in school, like elementary school.
They come out with such cool colors. They're like Insularis. I think an Insularis is also a viper. Those are also extremely colorful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, blues and greens and stuff like that. Eyelash vipers are yellow as fuck.
I like them. People used to tell me all the time that it made sense because they're like, I'm like, me too. Some people think I'm beautiful and also deadly. Now, one last theory here is that some people think that maybe it's some kind of ancient relic, either like from prehistoric times like Loch Ness or a megalodon. was in the sand. So
I think I would take that over any of the other I don't want to call it hypothesis, but like more of a I
theory.
can't think of. Yeah, thank you. I was struggling so hard. Thank you
it's
so
okay.
much for saving me for that.
I am really good at doing that. It's actually been freaking people out lately.
So I think that's probably my favorite theory out of the bunch. Like it was a prehistoric animal that just so happened to slide through the cracks.
No pun intended. But I think that that's probably plausible. I don't think that any of these mistaken identity cases are. It's like walking up and to an elephant and being like, "Oh, look, a koala." Not peace.
No, darling, that's a kangaroo and it's drowning your child right now. You better go stop it.
My favorite thing in the world is I saw this meme and it said it had a picture of a deer and then a kangaroo and it says a kangaroo is just a deer that's been to prison.
Kangaroos are such dicks, dude.
The thing is, they're so beautiful. Why?
They are.
It's like the prettier they are, the more violent they are.
I don't know. I watched a video of this guy. He was skydiving and he landed on a pad. He was in Australia and he landed and he's like taking in the scenery and he looks around and just this kangaroo out of nowhere just bum rushes him.
Oh.
Just knocks him down, starts fucking him up and then runs off. These kangaroos. Yeah, man. That's got to be a problem.
Yeah, that is a problem. So I've got to ask now, what do you think? Do you think the Mongolian death worm is real or fake?
So I like the idea of Bigfoot. I like the idea of Mothman. I like the idea of Goatman. The Mongolian death worm for me is a no, but only because I just find it super hard to believe that we have a spitting, electrocuting, explosive, deadly porcupine worm out in the wild and nobody's got a single thing on it other than stories because they all die supposedly. So it's like one of those things where it's like Bigfoot, like I will subscribe to Bigfoot and send me some Bigfoot, I'm for it. But like the worm for me, it's a hard one to swallow. It's a hard one to swallow.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, sure. You got plenty of practice. Let's go. But it's that one's a hard one to swallow. It's a hard one to take in, but it's just one of those things where I don't know. That one's hard to believe. Out of all the cryptids.
Now I got some ideas. Now I can't figure out the electrocution one.
That and the exploding part. That's what fucks.
Hold on. So what if it's the friction? What if there's those, so say those spikes that are on both ends, what if they do function and move like the creatures in Tremors and they're constantly going through all this friction? So if you do make contact, it does have that electricity. Maybe it's not as intense as people might think. And as far as exploding, now riddle me this. So what if you have this worm and I don't know what the seismic activity is like in Mongolia, specifically the Gobi Desert. But what if somebody just so happened to either be flying overhead or traveling on a camel or whatever they do out there, and there was some sort of seismic activity to where this worm was trying to escape, so it comes to the surface, but it can't get all the way out until the plates shift back, and it literally just squishes it. Because if you take a regular worm and run it, you can actually, all its guts go to the top and it'll explode. So what if it just got stuck in a crevice during some sort of shift?
But then there would be
one story.
But that would be suggesting that there's more than one. And if there's more than one, it would be less hard to find, resulting in more sightings of this thing, more evidence of it exists. Like instead of Bigfoot, like there could be one, there could be two, there could be a couple, but we've got sightings, we've gotten evidence, we've had people, whatever,
but how many people live in the Gobi Desert where these things are?
That is
something that's well traveled. Now, I'm also saying, even though the vast space that Bigfoot and everything is, there's still people that get those accounts. But what if it is more than one? And what if it's just circumstance that, like I said, maybe it shifts and it just literally just all the guts went to the top and it just pops, right? But then there's another one that maybe the friction and maybe it got too close to somebody with a generator or something like that. So then that particular one just had a freak
Just
accident. So now they think they all are electric. They all can electrocute you, even though it was just one ran into a generator.
so freak circumstances causing the worm to quote unquote have these powers, but
Yeah.
not actually having them. It's just
Yeah.
like one of those things where it just happened and then somebody caught it. Is what this thing does.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's plausible. That's plausible. But you're right about the Gobi Desert, about it not being so travel and not being so like research. Maybe we need to start sending people out there to go and find out if there is more than just reptiles out there, more than just vultures flying in the sky.
And you don't know what's under there because
No, there's a lot of fucking
no
sand.
one goes under there. To me, a desert is the equivalency of being in the ocean. It's just sand instead of water. We don't
That's a
know.
pretty good point. That is a pretty good
It
point.
could be anything. And think about it. There's creatures that are out in the desert and their whole hunting strategy is to shimmy underneath the sand just enough so that people thinks and it'll throw sand over itself. So
Mhm.
it's not seen until something comes up and gets it.
Yeah.
So
Now,
even in that case, you would have to have multiple people traveling in an area so that if one did get snatched, there would be
somebody.
witnesses.
So would you sleep? Would you sleep better knowing that this thing was around?
It doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to the desert.
Or I'm just saying, out there's a possibility. Your chances of getting mauled by a koala are never one or never zero. But
That is true. It really doesn't matter. I think it'd be cool if it was out there.
yeah, it definitely would be cool. It like seeing the fish. I'm a big ocean person, and just seeing the fish that we find all the fucking time that we're constantly new identifying and stuff like that's something that always blows my mind. And the way this stuff looks, it's you couldn't paint a better picture.
Well,
So having this, huh?
even in a finite atmosphere. So to me, the ocean is a totally different ballgame. We are literally a total different breed of cat. But if it's no, think about it. I'm trying to remember what it was. There was an animal that we believed, I think, for over 1,000 years that this thing was extinct, and people have been growing and expanding and all of that. And then they stumbled across one in the wild, like more than one. There's a small, there'd be like a small pocket population of whatever this thing is that for hundreds of years we just thought it was gone,
Mhm.
and that's in one localized area. Imagine a whole desert where you can just, how far can you dig?
Yeah. Get one of those drill to the center of the earth cars and you have to just start driving through and find it. Yeah.
What is
Find
that where it's got you got like a little bulldozer and there's like a big drill at the front? What is that from?
Armageddon.
When I was saying it's more like a cartoon.
More of a cartoon.
It's like a
South
red, it's
Park.
like a red. No,
South Park did it.
there's a red, maybe it was a video game or something from like when I was a kid, but there's like you're like on a red, it almost looks like a Zamboni or whatever those things are called. And it's got the big drill in the front. I don't remember, but anyway, sorry. Show me, it's just like in the 90s somewhere.
Hey man, 90s kids. We
All right,
lived through it.
yeah. If you were somehow, for some reason, out in the middle of the Gobi Desert and you encountered one of these things, what would you do?
So it electrocutes, it explodes, it's deadly. If I'm out in the Gobi Desert, is there a way home? Is there a
Good
way home?
question.
If there's no way
We're-
home, I'm hugging this thing.
You're on a little crop duster and your crop duster goes down mummy style.
Ooh. Okay, so giant face made out of sand takes me down.
Yep.
I hear some Egyptian slurs in the background. I'd hug it. If I went down, I'd hug it. If I was stuck there, I would definitely just be like, yo, this is the end. I don't want to deal with walking in this motherfucker for 3 days before I finally collapse from exhaustion and dehydration.
I
Or
guess it's a good point.
Or if I did have a way out, let's say the plane just like lightly crashed. I don't know how you lightly crash a plane, but let's say it got a boo and we're going to be able to fix it. And that thing came up. I would, that's hard because I would want to bring it back. But the idea of it exploding and the electricity kind of makes it hard. Do I have anything to kill it with? I'd probably try to kill it and then bring it back without it like exploding. Okay, but does the instant death thing, does that come with
See, that's
the
the thing. I
after
think
death?
a venom thing, like you touch him
Okay.
and it's so venomous that you're like, But you also, if you're just like, oh, let's just chop the head off and take it back, but there's no discernible head. So you're either cutting off the pooper or you're cutting off the head. You don't know
Yeah,
which one
cutting
you're
off one
getting.
side.
And what
Well,
if you pick
just like
the
a
wrong one?
just like a snake, when a snake dies, their venom is still potent. You can still, if you get scratched by a dead snake's tooth that has venom, you can still become venomated. I would try to kill it. I'd try to bring it back. I'd try to bring back as many pieces as humanly possible. I'd probably find something to like scoop it up with, like a piece of paper, or try to get it, push it around
You
and
get
try
that
to get it in.
Spidey.
Yeah, trying to scoop it into something and bring it back, hopefully. What are you doing? What are you doing? I want to know that I'm not weird. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to hug this thing. I'm going to be best
Well, you
friends
have
with
a
it.
good point. Only my thing would be, all right, so the venom is the deadliest, I believe.
Yeah. We're talking like Black
Mm.
Island,
How
inland
close do I
Titans
have?
type of shit.
How close do I have to be? Is it a spitting distance? How close do I have to be to that
It
thing?
spits. It spits too.
Because what if it just spits and it just eats your arm and it doesn't actually kill you? What if it's two different venoms? What if it's whatever the saliva has an extra enzyme for food deterioration or whatever, but
got a
the other ones are more
corrosive-
paralytic?
Yeah.
What
That's
if
a
it
good
really
point.
is? What if it really is a galactic, oversized cat's intestinal worm?
Are you bringing it home and putting it in a
Dead in the
museum?
desert.
Yep. Shit in the desert. I would, if it was just shit in the desert, I'd try to poop next to it to see if I could poop something bigger. And then I own the desert. That's how that works.
I
It's the
own
law
the
of it's the law of the cat. That's how that works. I own it. So
Yeah,
I
maybe
probably
that's
try to do that.
and yeah. What if it is? It's just that's why you never see them all because cats normally cover their poo, and maybe it's just because one cat's just a dick and it just doesn't cover its shit one day, and it's like, yeah, eat it, and then it just walks off.
And then it becomes explosive poop due to the heat. I see where
Yeah.
you're going with this.
Yeah.
I see this. And I think we need to start sending cats to the moon. We need to get these creatures off of our planet.
The alleged moon.
Yeah. Dark side.
So
Send them up there.
I love setting people up.
Have you gotten to interview a flat earther or dark side of the moonist or somebody
I have
that's
not.
super? Oh, man. Let me send a couple your
So-
way.
It is very interesting. I did have to laugh because actually, let me find my phone here. My son came out one day and was like, Mom, you're never going to fucking believe this. And I was like, what? He was like, you're never going to believe this homework assignment I have. He's like, how do I even do this? This is so stupid. And I was like, what do you mean? This is his assignment. He had to make a PowerPoint.
Huh.
The earth is flat.
Shut
Can-
up.
Convince me that the earth is flat. Look up quote unquote experts on the subject. Give their thoughts and opinions that are, by the way, he says are, all caps, pseudoscience. You should have the definition of what pseudoscience is. Include ways people have used pseudoscience to their advantage. Yeah.
You need to
So-
pull your kid from that school, I think. That's scary. That's super scary. Hey, fight me on this, student. I'm going to tell you that the earth is flat. Prove me wrong.
No, so this is he has to get experts to prove to his teacher that the earth is flat. It's the other way around.
They've been doing that forever.
He's like, Mom, he's like, I need experts. What about any of your podcast people? They probably know about this, right? I was like, oh, my man. I reached out to my group and I was like, my husband thinks you guys are all subject matter experts on flat earth.
We are. The second you buy like a microphone, you get a license that says you're
Yeah.
certified to tell people that the earth is flat.
PhD in flat earth theory.
Jesus Christ.
Hey,
Did you ever hear about the guy who like shot up and saw the curvature of the earth? He was a flat earther and then he crashed and died. He made a rocket that went up and he was able to see the curvature of the earth, and then he didn't have a contingency plan out of it and crashed and died. But there's a video.
crashed.
Crashed. This shit like went up.
Multiple questions. One, how high up would you have to be to see that? Two, did he have enough oxygen up there to do? Three,
I have
are we
no
sure
idea.
he didn't say, oh shit, my whole world is rock, it's round, and then he just plummeted to his death out of suicide?
Dude, I see this fucking umbrella, or not umbrella, parachute button that I could easily any second press, but I've gone too far. We're done with this. We're done.
Or maybe somebody was a saboteur.
Ooh, I think it probably was that. They were probably thinking like, hey, we can't let this asshole get the truth out that the Earth isn't flat
Oh,
or
I know
that
what it
is
is.
flat.
All of his calculations on how to get back safely all depended on the Earth being flat. But since there was a curvature, his math was wrong and he died.
He got instructions from Boeing. They were like, "Hey, this is how you go into space. You'll be up there for a while."
Oh, again, thank you, everybody who's listening. Check the description. Links are going to be down there. Links for him. Follow, subscribe, do all of that lovely stuff. We're definitely going to be scheduling probably another one of these spirit box sessions, and we're going to have on some extra people from his show and just hang out with my spooks here. And you guys will probably be able to find that on Patreon. I'm going to make that Patreon exclusive. So again, head on over there, check it out, check him out. Thank you again, Tyler. Do you got anything to add?
No, dude, other than that, this was a great time and I cannot wait to do another one with you. This was fantastic. Thank you so much for inviting me on. The next time I see your ghost, I hope they don't call me a demon, dumb, and to shut up 100% of the time.
Your asshole's a portal.
My asshole is apparently a portal. And if you guys didn't know, ghosts are coming out of it.
Yeah, so again, everybody, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, everybody, I'll see ya.
See you guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. If you wouldn't mind, please take a moment and rate and review the show wherever you're listening. I know it might not seem like much, but it greatly helps the show by allowing us to be found more easily when other listeners search for us. If you have a chance, head on over to www.patreon.com/cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy and become a patron. Members of the Big Show tier get bonus materials, personalized shout-outs, access to the private Discord server, and video versions of episodes, both regular and members only, that are raw and unedited. So they're always a good time. As an added thank you to the Big Show patrons, we also are going to be giving out custom stickers and mini prints after 3 months of membership. I'm currently offering a 7-day free trial, so head on over and see how awesome being a member can be. Before you go, click the link in the description and grab yourself or someone you know some of the self-designed merch, or make a donation to help keep the show going and fund future events and investigations. T-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and magnets can be found on the TeePublic site, and they have sales at least once a month. I believe it is 30 or 35% off. I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly how much, but keep checking back and get them when they're discounts. They have $16 tees, and it's great. For handmade crochet items such as Nessie, Mothman, aliens, Fresno nightcrawlers, and the little ghosts or a big ghost, as well as pants, swimwear, the best tumblers I have found yet as far as merch is concerned, dresses, office supplies, and more, visit the Square merch store. You can also follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Threads, and TikTok. If you have any questions, topic recommendations, or personal encounters, please don't hesitate to send them in to cryptidscreepsandconspiracy@gmail.com or submit them through the contact form at www.cryptidscreepsandconspiracy.com. I would love to hear from you and share your experience on a special listener episode. Just make sure to specify that I have permission to add your encounter to the show, and let me know whether you would like to have your real name or an alias to maintain confidentiality. Thank you again so much for all your support, and I'll see you next time, my friend.